we saw, I believe, on Instagram. Can you read what it says?
Yeah, this is from New Zealand. It says, "Don't let Mpox scars ruin your nudes." And it's the ad has a picture of a gay man taking a picture of his cack.
So what they're basically saying with this is get your monkeypox vaccine so you can continue to and suck gay guys without getting monkeypox and then monkeypox scars, so you'll be more comfortable sending pictures of your cack to other homosexuals.
Yeah, you can't let anything interrupt your super degenerate hypersexual behavior with other men.
Yeah, this is like end times shit.
I know. So that's why you need the monkeypox shit.
And they
Crazy.
say we're on the wrong side of history, but then this is who's on the right side of history and what's prioritized when you're on the right side of history.
Yep.
Very strange.
Yeah, brought to you by Big Pharma, you know, like whatever, or some foundation, some gay foundation.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to seeing us on Rumble. Oh, I forgot to plug the dates. We'll see you in Irvine, California, October 19th. Are you going? Irvine, California. We're going to be at the Improv in Irvine, California, October 19th. That's next Sunday. Not this Sunday, the next Sunday. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets. And then we're going to be in Australia. We've added second shows. So all the first shows have all sold out in Australia and Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane. And now they've just added all the second shows. So go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets. We'll see you in Australia. And then the day after Thanksgiving, we're going to be in Burbank, California. It's a Friday. Everybody's off. Come out to see stand-up comedy show, your favorite comedy show, in Burbank at Flappers Comedy Club, November 28th, the day after Thanksgiving. We have special guests with us, ladies and gentlemen. Ian Carroll, citizen journalist, online educator, whose motto is follow the money, seek the truth, do your own research. That sounds very right-wing. He also hosts the online show Cancel This, and his TikTok currently boasts more than 1.8 million followers. Boy, I wonder what he's not posting over there. Please welcome back to the show, Ian Carroll. Hey, Ian, how are you?
Good to see you again, Jimmy.
So
I'm basically not posting anything on TikTok anymore.
Did they go back and take down some of your stuff?
Yeah, it was right after the deal started to go through. My most recent one got taken down. I haven't posted since. I'm not surprised. We've seen it before. Yeah, TikTok's a can of worms. Not a fan.
So I wanted to talk to you quick. There's a peace deal. Well, there's a ceasefire deal. And here's a very quick summary. Multi-phase framework focused primarily on ending the 2-year Gaza war rather than resolving the broader Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The first phase, which is Israel approved on October 9th, includes an immediate ceasefire, release of all remaining Israeli hostages, which there are about 48, and within 72 hours. And then Israel's going to release approximately 2,000 Palestinian. Wow, that doesn't seem equal, does it? 2,000 Palestinian prisoners, including 250 serving life sentences, and 1,700 detained since October 7th, 2023. Partial withdrawal from Gaza, with forces remaining along the Philadelphia corridor. That's the Gaza-Egypt border for security. So I guess they occupy about 70% of Gaza right now, and they're supposed to pull back to 50%. That's what I've heard. And they're going to open the Rafah crossing for humanitarian aid under international oversight. Subsequent phases, negotiations to begin post-hostage release, outline Gaza's demilitarization, transitional governance by Palestinian technocrats under the International Board of Peace, which is going to be chaired by Trump, and large-scale reconstruction funded by Gulf states and international donors. And what I just want to, this is what Scott Ritter has to say about it. Hang on. Here's what he says.
We got to plug you in.
Oh, I'm not plugged in. Hang on a second.
Yeah, it's an interesting plan. It's an interesting deal. There's a couple of buzzwords in there that get my hackles up, like technocrats, for example, which we'll unpack after this clip, I'm sure.
Okay, yes. Well, so
but it's interesting for sure. There's a lot to try to figure out about what's really going on with it.
So here's what Scott Ritter said on Judge Napolitano's show.
Because Hamas wants a Palestinian state. I mean, that's what this was all about. This was about creating the conditions for a Palestinian state. And now Hamas actually has a deal. Again, people need to put this in perspective. Go back to the days and weeks after October 7th, 2023, when the initial discussions were being had about a ceasefire and what Hamas's demands are. Every single demand of Hamas has been met. I mean, this is a Hamas peace treaty. Trump has packaged it up and has sold it to the Israelis, but Hamas is getting everything they asked for. So, why would Hamas do this? Because this is what they wanted all along. The idea that they're a terrorist organization that exists just to run around and blow things up and commit violence and kill Israel and all is absurd in the extreme. Hamas has been fighting for a Palestinian state, for a Palestinian homeland, and this agreement creates the opportunity for that. So that's exactly why Hamas would be willing to do all this. But at some point in time, I would whisper in his ear, Hamas won. Hamas won. They got everything they wanted. Thank you, Mr. President, on behalf of Hamas.
So that's Scott Ritter saying Hamas actually won this war. They got everything they wanted. I think that remains to be seen. But go ahead, unpack this. We'll take it where you want, Ian.
Yeah, obviously it's very fresh, and there's a lot more that we don't know than that we do know. One thing we do know is that we've seen Israel violate countless ceasefires in the past, but I'm optimistic about this one, and I'm trying to stay that way. Because Scott's right that Hamas and the Palestinians in general are getting a lot of what they want. But unfortunately, it's at an extremely high toll of loss of life. You made a funny comment about the unequal number of prisoners being exchanged. And it's, when you know about how many Palestinians have been rotting away in Israeli prisons with no due process for years in some cases, it's not surprising that the deal includes the release of a whole bunch more Palestinians than Israelis. But I'm glad about hostages being exchanged in all regards and people being hopefully set free peacefully. And I noticed that the plan, they mentioned that Israel wanted there to be no big media circus around the hostage release, which makes sense because the media did not go so well for Israel the last time that we had a bunch of hostages being released. Memes still circulate to this day of like Israeli prisoners saying things to Hamas terrorists or whatever.
Saying nice things and thanking them
right?
for
saying bye, shukran,
and giving a warm goodbye to their hostage keepers, and so they don't want people to see that. They don't want to see that Hamas actually took good care of the hostages, unlike when a Palestinians inside of an Israeli jail.
Or at least as good a care as they can while they're under siege, right?
Right, correct.
And starving and all these things.
Yeah.
Hopefully this ends the famine. But there's all these complex layers wrapped up in this, and I think the best place for people to start to access this and look into it and research it and gain a more complex understanding of what I think is going on here is the word technocrats, because in the reporting and almost all of the reporting, you can see that they say that the leadership of Gaza will be handed over to an interim government of technocrats. And there's a couple of, it's not entirely clear what they mean on face value, but one thing is that they're apparently like non-political. They're not partisan. They're not, they're mostly businessmen, educated people, and they're people that have interests aligned with the global banking cartel.
Oh, really?
Because if you look into what has been happening in the West Bank as of last year, their new government as of last March-ish is also led by technocrats. And a lot of the leadership in the West Bank right now, the word technocrats means previously worked for the World Bank, previously worked with these globalist financial power centers. And so that starts to explain why a deal might be being made, because the deal is logically going to benefit the banking cartel if the banking cartel is being put in power in these places. But also it starts to explain how we might be watching maximum profit being extracted from every part of this plan, because the war was extremely profitable for bankers and war profiteers the world over. And now I would expect that the reconstruction process will be milked for all that it's worth too. But that doesn't necessarily make it bad as far as I'm concerned. The stopping of the killing is great. And if, it's going to happen in a corrupt way, at least it's less killing, hopefully. but I am reticent to, jump up and down and clap and celebrate, because there's a lot we still don't know, and there's a whole lot of what looks like the same old players profiting in the same old ways, just with a new script this time.
So here's a video of them leaving. So now they're going back to their homes in Gaza City, and
what's left of them.
Yeah, what's left of Gaza City and what's left of the Palestinians. Thousands of displaced Palestinians started streaming back towards their abandoned homes after a ceasefire deal went into. So let's listen. So here, look at this.
It's wild to watch. It's incredible.
It is incredible.
Yeah, it's tragic. Hopefully it's happy in the end.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And so under the terms, Hamas is expected to release 20 living Israeli hostages within 72 hours, after which Israel will release 250 Palestinians serving long terms in Israeli prisons, as well as 1,700 after that.
I think that'll be really telling what happens after Israel gets their hostages back.
Yes.
I don't want to, be a broken record and just assume that Israel will do something bad after they've got their hostages back. I'm hoping that the deal holds, and the peace is assured, but I'm very much waiting to see when the hostage exchange happens. What's the next move, and is everyone acting in good faith from there on? Because Israel has been claiming that the hostage release is their whole mission all along, but when you actually look at statements being made by people in Israel's government and Israel's military, it's pretty apparent that actually a lot of violence, bloodshed, occupation, land grabbing seemed to be on a lot of their minds. So I'm hoping that Trump has enough strength and he has enough partnership with the Gulf states around Israel to get this thing to stick. That would be truly monumental if it can.
So, we've talked about this before. Trump has this 20-point plan, but it's still that has not been accepted by both sides. That needs to be ironed out with negotiators. Trump's plan also calls for Hamas to disarm, for the Gaza Strip to be governed by an international transitional government, and for a full Israeli withdrawal to a buffer zone on the Strip's border. Now, why would to voluntarily disarm doesn't seem wise? Does it seem wise to you?
Not really. There's an element where in this current political environment, I could understand how it's safer to disarm now than maybe ever before, because there's so many eyes on Israel, and Israel is in such a precarious position on the global stage. And now that Trump is, sort of staking his reputation, although, we've seen him destroy his reputation for apparently no reason on other things like Epstein. But now that Trump is apparently staking his reputation as the peace president on this deal, I think that there's a better chance of disarming going well than there ever has been before. And I do think that if I was to see it from the Israelis' side, having Hamas armed in the Strip definitely keeps tensions high, and tensions high is a risky thing right now. So I don't know what to make of that. It's going to be a part of the plan regardless. I don't see Israel agreeing to the plan without it. So at a certain point, it's kind of from where we're sitting, it's kind of watch and see.
Well, here is a former Israeli hostage negotiator. He says the ceasefire deal agreed upon this week, it could have been done over a year ago. Let's listen.
Well, in May of 2024, President Biden then presented what I thought was a bad deal. It was a partial deal that would not end the war and would not bring all the hostages home. So in July, August, hostage families approached me and asked me if I could help negotiate a better deal. I contacted Hamas interlocutors that I've been in contact with now for 18 years, and asked if Hamas was willing to make a full comprehensive deal at that time. I spoke to Israeli military people and asked them how long it would take Israel to withdraw from Gaza, and they told me 3 weeks. So I told Hamas, would you be willing to make a deal that in 3 weeks the war would end, all the hostages would be released, more than are there right now, and Israel would withdraw from Gaza. There'd be security guarantees and other elements of the deal. And Hamas said yes, after the leadership approved it. And I received it in writing, in Arabic and in English, transmitted it to the Israeli negotiators, who told me that it was a great deal, but the prime minister refuses to end the war. I tried to get the Americans directly engaged. The deal went to the desk of President Biden, but his main point man on the negotiations, Brett McGurk, refused to look at it. His own negotiators told me that they were very frustrated. I was invited to Qatar and presented it to the Qataris, but they all told me that they couldn't do anything unless the Americans bought into it, which didn't happen. So the deal that was being done today could have been done last September.
So,
I mean, in some ways, it could have been done on day one, because on the first day, Hamas offered to exchange all of their prisoners if Israel didn't enter the Gaza Strip, which Israel was never going to agree to, and they didn't. But, you know, the barrier to peace has kind of been Israel's desire to level Gaza and America's apparently inability to lead the world the entire time.
100%. Here's one more. Wolf Krieger says Israel was forced into this, and they don't want it. That's obvious, which means it won't last. Unfortunately,
I am worried about that.
Yeah,
I'm very worried about that.
They'll find some way to get the war machine going again, and I agree, because they're not going to abandon the Greater Israel Project.
Yep.
And so, Trump is actually sending troops there now.
Bingo.
And that's a big mistake, and we're going to talk about that in just a second, why that's a huge mistake.
Yeah.
But first, let me throw it over to Steph, and I'll set that up.
Okay, thanks, Jimmy. Did you hear that The Hill Have Eyes? Crazy Israeli Settlers. Old Woman was nominated for Nobel Peace Prize. FSO. Thank you.
I did hear that.
I absolutely loved Mike as Cash Patel. I've listened to both skits at least over 10 times. Free Palestine. Thank you, Mikey. This history of the NSA and the CIA is a huge rabbi hole. Come on, Savage. Come on. Love you, Jim. But why advocate for Corolla for governor?
Because he'd be better than anybody else running. That's why. That's why I advocate for. I mean, I don't agree with Adam Carolla on all things political, but he certainly isn't bought by those same people, and I don't think he's a politician. He's not going to do it. He's not a politician, but he would be light years ahead of whoever is better than whoever is going to become governor. That's why. Thanks for the question.
Thank you, DH.
All right, come back to me. Hey, it's Jimmy. And I'm here to encourage fans of the Jimmy Dore Show to follow us on all the socials, which is the term we influencers use to refer to social media. We know the establishment's constantly trying to suppress our message, so you may have to seek us out to make sure you're following the right accounts. On Facebook, we're at Jimmy Dore Show. On Twitter, some call it X, I still call it Twitter, we're at Jimmy_Dore. On Instagram, you can find us at The Jimmy Dore Show, all one word, and Jimmy Dore Stand-Up. That's for my stand-up clips on Instagram. TikTok keeps banning us, so we can't imagine why they're doing it, but it is really irritating, if you know what I mean. So make sure you're following our brand new TikTok account, which is at The Jimmy Dore Show. Oh, that's The Jimmy Dore Show with a 0 at the end. We're even on Red Note at Jimmy Dore Comedy, even though I don't know what that is. And then if you're not yet a member, we strongly encourage you to join up at jimmydore.com so we can get all our bonus content and watch the full show ad-free. You'll be glad you did. Hey everybody, it's Jimmy. That's me, Jimmy Dore. That's right. I'm the host of the Jimmy Dore Show. Did you know that? We know you're proud to be a fan and a supporter of the show, but Do your friends, your family, your neighbors, and random strangers you pass on the street, do they know? Maybe not. And just as you like to keep informed by watching the Jimmy Dore Show, you can inform all those important and not so important people in your life about your love of the show with one of these. Huh? It's the authentic and branded Jimmy Dore Show t-shirts. We've got the classic logo, Jimmy Dore, and we also have the Jimmy Dore Show pop art. Look at that. Look at that. Nice, huh? And we also have one of my favorites. It's the Frederick Douglass quote. I would unite with anybody to do right and with nobody to do wrong. It's all available now at our website. Just go to jimmydore.com, then shop the merch, and you'll see there and many more options. And just click on mugs. Also, how about mugs? We got the mugs. Made in America. This is one of my favorites. It says "Vaxxed and Worried." Nice. We also have
that'll go over big with the guests. Their
my
friends
favorite.
at the
This is a
office.
great mug. It says "Made in America" on the bottom. Jagoff, very thick, nice handle, thick glass. I love this one. Plus, we have stuff like this over there.
Mouse pad.
Mouse pads. We got your Jimmy Dore Show stickers and logos, and we got your what do you call those?
Coaster.
Coasters. Look at that. Look at this. Coasters, more coasters. So, and so what are you waiting for? Get your Jimmy Dore Show t-shirt, mugs, coasters. Go get them today, jimmydore.com.